You are listening to Kuya's Pod. Stay informed and entertained as we discuss just about everything under the sun. This is your host, Death.Wish Gamer, more than just gaming. Hello, it's Kuya's Pod time. Before we begin, you may ask questions, comments, and ask for subjects you want us to discuss to DWGamer@yahoo.com. We are also present in YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for Death.Wish Gamer. Let's start. The world's biggest vaccine drive is currently underway. As countries strive to build herd immunity to the coronavirus, 9 leading vaccines are being used against the SARS-CoV-2 virus. These vaccines are Pfizer-BioNTech, Oxford-AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Sinovac, Sinopharm, Sputnik V, CanSino Biologics, and Bharat Biotech Covaxin. Billions of people are awaiting their turn to get vaccinated, while hundreds of millions of doses have already been shipped. But what are these vaccines actually made of? All of the COVID-19 vaccines being used contain a so-called active ingredient. It's the ingredient in a pharmaceutical drug that is biologically active. Coronavirus vaccine contain 3 main active ingredients: mRNA, which is used in the Pfizer-BioNTech and Moderna vaccines; a viral vector, which is used in Oxford-AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson; and inactivated virus, which is used in Sinovac Biotech. mRNA, or messenger ribonucleic acid, is the genetic material that teaches the body how to make proteins. A viral vector is a modified version of a harmless virus or the vector that delivers important instructions to our cells. And inactivated virus is one that has been grown in a lab, then killed to destroy its ability to cause illness. All active ingredients have the same goal: to trigger our immune systems to make antibodies that fight against the coronavirus in our bodies. We often get asked, can you get the COVID-19 from the vaccine? As I mentioned a while back, vaccine is a small component of the virus, not the virus itself. So it is impossible to get COVID-19 from the vaccine. Secondly, does it get into our DNA? It is biologically impossible for that to happen. Besides, minute amounts of the active ingredient, water is the main ingredient that makes up the vaccine solution. All vaccines contain different types of salt. One example would be sodium chloride or table salt. The Sinovac vaccine uses inorganic salt called aluminium hydroxide. It's a common vaccine ingredient used to trigger a stronger immune response in the body. Salt helps to maintain the vaccine's pH level or acidity and keeps it similar to that of the human body. The mRNA vaccines contain different types of lipids or fats. These fats are synthesized in order to make the mRNA into the cells. Sugars, amino acids, and ethanol work as stabilizers. They preserve the vaccine's effectiveness over time and during temperature changes. For the Pfizer-BioNTech and Moderna vaccines, which need to be kept at sub-zero temperatures, sugars help stabilize the vaccine in the freezing. Lastly, are substances that keep components in the vaccine soluble, such as polysorbate 80, which is commonly used on foods like ice cream. The vaccines face religious hurdles, including the Muslim populations that follow halal rules in food preparations. Pork gelatin, which is not halal or permissible under Islam, is commonly used in vaccines to ensure stability during storage and transport. Pfizer-BioNTech, Moderna, Oxford, AstraZeneca, and Sinovac have all said that their coronavirus vaccines do not contain pork-derived ingredients. Johnson & Johnson has yet to say whether its vaccine is free of animal derivatives. Several predominantly Muslim countries like Malaysia and the United Arab Emirates or UAE have ruled that all coronavirus vaccines are permissible even if they contain non-halal ingredients. But while Indonesia's top Islamic body has given the green light to the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, only Sinovac to date has been deemed holy and halal. It is very important because of the majority of Indonesians are Muslims and halal certification is an obligation. Every Muslim should consume halal products and avoid those that are haram, forbidden, and certainly it doesn't only apply to food and drinks but also to medicines. This is according to the Islamic body of Indonesia. Meanwhile, some Christians, notably Catholics, have moral concerns over the vaccines linked to abortions. Cells used to make some of the COVID-19 vaccines are lab-grown reproductions of original fetal cells taken from true abortion carried out in the 1970s and in the 1980s. Pfizer, BioNTech, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson used fetal cell lines to develop their vaccines, but the actual doses do not contain any fetal cells. The Vatican has also ruled on the issue, saying it is morally acceptable to receive COVID-19 vaccines that have used cell lines from aborted fetuses in their research and production process. Coming in from the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, the Vatican, on December 21, 2020. Some vegans have also raised issues about the vaccines, while some were tested on animals. None of the vaccines contained animal-derived ingredients, including eggs. As vaccines makers race to increase supply, there appears to be sufficient amounts of the ingredients needed to produce the jabs. One that may be in short supply, though, is the lipids needed to make the Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna vaccines. Nevertheless, leading vaccines manufacturers continue scaling up production in a race to produce enough shots to the global pandemic. This ends my podcast. I hope you like This ends my podcast. I hope you like my podcast and you have learned new things. If you have suggestions or comment or just want to say hi, send me an email to dwgamer@yahoo.com and I would be very pleased to talk back to you. This is Kuya Pod. Until my next podcast, goodbye.